All right, I'm going to go ahead and click on that pen tool practice template. You can download this from Google Classroom or just go ahead and drag and drop it from the fall calendar. All right, next up, we're going to open up Photoshop. And let's open up the pen tool practice template. All right, I'm going to File Open, and I'm searching alphabetically for my file pen practice. All right, looks like this. Let's get that open. So the pen tool is a really versatile and effective tool in Photoshop. It's a little confusing to learn at first, but once you get the hang of it, you'll see it's actually easy and, like I said, really useful tool. All right, so you have your template. We're going to be using the template to practice making what's called paths that are stroked. We know that a stroke is like an outline. So in Photoshop and later in Illustrator, we'll see that when you make a path, it's like an imaginary line until you stroke the path or fill a path. If you fill a path, you're technically making a shape. Okay, so what we're going to do is start out by making a new layer. Let's click on Make New Layer. We don't want to draw on the background template. And we are going to start by setting up our paintbrush. We're actually going to use the paintbrush in combination or conjunction with the pen tool. So let's click on the brush tool and we're going to set it up with a brush. So let's go to the drop down menu for our brushes and just go to your general brushes. And let's start out by choosing the hard round. If you'd like to see the name and thumbnail image of your brush, just click on the wheel and choose brush name. All right, we're choosing the hard round brush and let's make it somewhat small. Let's make it, let's say 5 or 6 pixels in size. Next up, let's choose a color. You can start out with black. We're going to change it later. All right, so we have black. We set up our brush tool with the hard round brush, 5 or 6 pixels. Next up, let's get the zoom tool. Let's zoom in a little bit to this straight line labeled AB. Next, we're going to go get your pen tool. Pen tool looks like a little calligraphy pen tip. If you hold down on it, you'll see there's lots of different pen tools. Today we're just going to start out by using the regular pen tool, the one on top. All right, now I mentioned that a line, when we draw a line with the pen tool, it's going to be called a path. And it does not actually exist until we stroke the path or fill the path. Now, paths also include anchor points. So whenever you click and release, let's do that right here at the top of the line, click release. You made a little dot. It's called an anchor point. It doesn't actually exist. It's there to help anchor your path, and later it will help us edit your path. All right, we clicked and let go so that there's just a free anchor right there. We're going to jump down to B and we're going to click and release. Now your smart guides should be lighting up. Mine look blue, and we're looking at 2 anchor points and a path that connects them. Now remember, this doesn't actually exist. It doesn't actually show up in an artwork until we do the next step. you're going to hover in your document anywhere. Just hover with your mouse, right click to pop up this menu. We're going to choose Stroke Path. You're going to get a pop-up menu for the stroke path. What tool do we want to use to do the stroke? A brush. Notice that you could also stroke with any of these other tools, but we've set up the brush. Okay, we are going to uncheck Simulate Pressure. We're not doing that right now. I'll show you that in a minute. All right, uncheck Simulate Pressure, click OK. All right, there's my straight black line. Now notice the path still exists. Your smart guides are still showing you that blue line with the 2 dots. You have to get rid of that path, otherwise it will interfere with our next one. So notice if I try to make another line, another straight line, what did I get? I got a diagonal because my path is still active, so it's trying to draw more paths, and you don't want that. So before we move to the next path, the next line, hover again in the middle of the document, right click, and choose Delete Path. Okay, now we're ready for our next line, but I want you to change up the color of the brush and the brush type. So let's go to your color picker. Let's choose a new color. Go to your brush tool, drop down your brush menu. Let's choose the soft round brush. And how about make your brush a little bit bigger? I'm bumping it up to 10. All right, so we've chosen a new color. We've chosen the soft round brush. You've increased the size of your brush to 10 pixels. Let's go back to the pen tool, and I want you to make another straight line, another path to the left of the black one. All right, I'm going to click and release to set my first anchor. I'm going to jump down to the end of my path, make it longer than the previous one, and I'm going to click and release. So there's my path. Next, I need to stroke the path. Hover in the document, right click, stroke path. All right, double check that the tool says brush, don't simulate pressure, and click OK. All right, there's my new path. It's pink, it's got a soft brush, it's a little longer. Next step, let's delete the path. Hover in the document, right click, delete path. Let's do a straight line one more time. Go back to your color picker, let's change the color. Go back to your brush tool, let's do a different brush. Go choose a fun brush, any brush you want. A charcoal brush, a scatter leaf brush, any kind of fun brush you want. All right, I'm also, my brush is at 10, this one's at 60 pixels. Let's reduce that, that's too big. All right, maybe you want to make yours a little bit bigger than 10, maybe 15 or 20. All right, go back to the pen tool on the right side of your original black path. Let's make another straight line. Click to release and set an anchor. Jump down to the bottom of your path. And here's another tool. If you want to make a very straight line, it's perfectly straight, hold Shift on your keyboard and then click. And now you've got a straight line. Let's right click anywhere on the document, stroke path, brush tool, and OK. All right, there's my blue path with a chalk brush. Next up, delete the path. Right click, delete path. All right, that's it for our straight lines. Make sure you have 3 straight lines. They're different lengths, different colors, and different brushes. All right, next up we're on the zigzag. Zigzag is also simple. We're just going to be clicking and releasing. All right, so go ahead. We're going to set up, if you want, you can stick with your previous brush. We're going to set up by clicking and releasing on C, click and release on D, click and release on E, click and release on F, click and release on G. Hover anywhere in the document, right click, stroke path. Brush tool, yes, click OK. And there's my new path, right click, delete path. Okay, we're doing this to get used to the process so that this becomes second nature to you. You're going to do another zigzag above this one and below this one. So 3 zigzags. Make them 3 different colors, 3 different brushes. All right, I've changed the color. I've gone to my brush tool and shows a different brush. I'm back to the pen tool. I'm going to make a zigzag now above the other one. Click and release, jump to the apex, click and release, jump down to what's called the nadir, by the way, the low point, click and release, back up to the apex, click and release, back down, click and release. Hover in the document, right click, stroke path, right click, delete path. All right, one more time, go change the color, go change your brush and brush size. I'm going to see if it'll let me stroke with this brush. Sometimes specific brushes won't allow you to stroke with, so I'm going to try it out and see if it works. All right, back to the pen tool. I'm going to make another zigzag under my original. Hover in the document, right click, stroke path, brush tool. Yeah, it did it. Great. Right click, delete path. All right, so you can see here how I've got 3 different paths, 3 different brushes, 3 different colors. All right, want to see that from you? All right, so those were our what's called straight paths. Next up, we're going to do the triangle. This is going to be filling the path to make a shape, but also stroking the path to give it an outline. All right, double check you've deleted your previous path. Right click, can you click on delete path or is it grayed out? All right, let's head on over to the triangle. With the pen tool, you're going to go ahead and click on H, release, click on I, release, click on J, release, go back to H, hover on H until you see a little circle next to the pen cursor. That's telling you you're closing the path and making a proper shape. Click it once you see that circle. All right, now your smart guides tell you you've got a path in the shape of a triangle. We need to stroke the path and fill the path. So first off, let's right click and you're going to choose this time fill path. Fill path. Now, when you get your pop-up menu, you can choose your color. Do you want it to be your foreground color that's already there? Or do you want to drop that down and choose your background color? Or do you want to choose color and pop up your color picker and choose a new color? Okay, so now I've got my filled in orange triangle. Now, before you delete the path, I want you to stroke the path. We filled it, let's stroke the path now. Right click again, stroke path. Now I've already got my brush tool set up with that dot brush called a halftone brush. So I'll go ahead and do that. All right, right click, delete the path now. So you can delete the path after you filled the path and stroked the path. All right, next up, I want you to make 2 more triangles. You can make them above or below. We need to have 3 triangles. You're going to make them on your own. So I'm going to click and release at the top, click and release at the other angle, click and release. I'm going to go back to my original anchor point, looking for that circle next to my cursor telling me that I closed the path. And now I've got my path of my triangle. Time to fill the path, stroke the path. Right click, fill path. I'm going to choose color to pop up my color picker. All right, time to right click again, stroke the path. But I don't have a new brush set up yet, so I'm actually going to go back over here. I'm going to change the color of my foreground, and I'm going to get a different brush this time. Okay, back to the pen tool. The path is still there. All right, back to the pen tool, right click, stroke path. All right, so I set up my brush and I set up my color as pink. Click OK. All right, there it is. It's kind of small. Pink chalk outline. Last step, right click again, delete path. Let's do that one more time. Now notice when my brush was too small, you can like barely see the stroke. So if you want the stroke to really stand out, make your brush size bigger. All right, one more triangle. Maybe you want to make a different shape, like an obtuse triangle or isosceles. All right, time to right click, fill the path. I'm going to use my foreground color this time that's already set up. And time to stroke the path. I want to make that brush different and bigger. And a different color. All right, back to the pen tool, hover on the document, right click, stroke path. And right click, delete path. Okay, so far I should see from you 3 straight lines, 3 different brushes, 3 different colors. 3 zigzag lines, 3 different brushes, 3 different colors. 3 different triangles, filled different colors, and stroked different colors and brushes.